So we have added 4 different accounts of income in our chart of accounts. Now just like income, I mean revenue, let us also do some work on expenses, and let us make sure that these expense accounts are sufficient enough to meet our requirements. So first of all, you can see the standard list here. We have cost of goods sold, wages, direct expenses, administration, accountancy, audit, bank fees, cleaning, consulting, and so many other accounts. So Xero by itself comes with a standard list which is usually suitable for your country, and these include all the basic accounts that you would often need. But if you want your accounting system to provide you meaningful information, you may like to customize them as well. Now before we begin this customization, we have to understand this type for expenses. For the income it was not that relevant, but for expenses it is actually very much important. First of all, you are looking at a type here. Some of these accounts are marked as direct cost while others are marked as overhead. So let me explain you what does that mean. So direct cost are the expenses that you can trace specifically on a product or a unit or a customer. So if you are running a dental clinic and you are serving a patient, a customer, the expenses that are incurred on that specific customers, and if you had not served that customer, you could have saved those expenses. Only those expenses can be classified as direct cost. So for example, say you will be using some medicines and materials for that specific customer, and if you don't do that job, those expenses will be saved. Those expenses will be falling under the category of direct cost. But all the general expenses like the rent of the clinic and the generic stuff like administration staff and reception staff, and the generic expenses like cleaning of the clinic and then the utilities, all of these generic expenses will be falling under the category of overhead. Now here you can see for the direct expenses we already have 3 accounts: cost of goods sold, direct wages, and direct expenses. These are absolutely fine, we can use them, but what if you would like to classify these cost of goods sold into 4 categories that you already have for your income as well? Can you do that? Of course you can do that, there is nothing wrong with that, but I would make it simple for now. I would say that let's just use this cost of goods sold and direct wage and direct expense account here just to avoid overcomplication. But of course if you like to do that, you can definitely do it. Now within expenses there is a third type as well. So we have seen 2 types, direct cost and overheads. The third type is called expense, and this basically refers to non-operating expenses like exchange gain or loss or interest expense. So expenses which are not directly related to the operations of the business. So let us conclude. Directly related to the product or service, that is direct cost. Not directly related to the product but it's still related to the operations, overheads. And finally, not related to the operations at all, these are called expenses here. So when you will go here to add an account and you would select a category from here, you would see that you will have expense option here. So in the expenses you have depreciation, we will talk about it later on, but other than depreciation you have the option to choose direct cost, expense or overhead. And this is actually important that we choose the right category because this is how it will appear in the reports. So in our reports all the direct costs will be compiled together separately, so if we misclassify something it will cause a problem in the reports. So we'll make sure that we classify things properly. So if we have to add an overhead account here, we will click here. Now let us add an account code here, and you can give any code, any number that has not been used before, but it is better to use a systematic order of coding. And that is, if you look at the background here, all the expenses that were direct costs are starting with 3. They are in the range of 300. All the expenses that are overheads are appearing with the range of 400. And if you look at the bottom, that taxation is appearing with 500, because taxation is something different. We do not really consider it as an expense. So we can use any code here, but we will prefer to choose the one that is most relatable. So here you can see that general expenses are coded as 429. So I would use 430 here. And let's say we want to define some other miscellaneous expenses. We just want to keep them separate, and you can add a description that is optional, and you will click on save, and this new account will be saved for you. So I have just added an account just for example. Now after this, you also need to take a look at assets, liabilities and equity, and let's do it quickly. First of all, let us talk about assets. Assets are all the valuables that your business owns. For example, motor vehicles, machinery, property, plant equipment, or any other things like bank balances, cash, the receivable balances, the inventories. All of these will be called assets. Here in assets, you will notice something interesting. Some of these accounts will have a lock icon, which means that you cannot delete these accounts. Why is that so? Xero will be using these accounts itself in the accounting in the background, so you will see them when we will start to record invoices. You will see the magic of these accounts. For now, the only thing that we need to know is we cannot delete them. Other than that, you can see we have all of these accounts that are appearing here. One thing that we should keep in mind here is that assets are further classified in 2 categories. Well, actually you are seeing 3 here: current assets, fixed assets and inventory. But inventory is further a part of current assets. So we can broadly say 2 categories, current and fixed. Let me quickly give you a difference between these two. Current assets are the ones where you expect to realize the money from those assets within a period, within a year. So for example, if we talk about inventory or receivables, we will say that the money from these will be coming within a year. So we will classify them as current assets. But all the assets where the benefit from the asset is long term, I mean the realization of the benefits will be long term, it is more than 1 year, we will classify that as fixed asset, for example motor vehicles and property or machinery. Now this inventory is definitely again a part of current assets, so we will only use the inventory type if we are defining an inventory account. Now if we talk about adding an asset here, you will click on this, and here you will go to the type and you will have the asset type here. If we go back, okay, so here we have the assets, and within the assets you have current assets, fixed assets, inventory and non-current assets. So fixed asset and non-current assets are broadly the same, they will be used in the same way. One more thing that you are seeing here is prepayment. Prepayment is itself a part of current assets. They have just given it to you separately for some additional options. We will talk about them later on when we will discuss prepayment in detail. Right now, let us focus on current and fixed, and let us only use inventory where we are specifically defining the inventory accounts. But please keep in mind, inventory term will only be used for the items which are meant for the purposes of resale. Now if you have to add a current account, you will select this, and then let's talk about code. You can see that if I look at the background, coding is here with 600 and 700. So all the current assets are being defined here as 600 code, and all the non-currents are being defined as 700 in code. So right now, let us say I want to add a cash account. For that, the most suitable one will be 600. So I can add 600 and check if that is available. And then I can say cash at office, or you can say petty cash, and you can save it to add but. For cash and bank accounts, we will not be defining our accounts here, rather we will be using this add bank account option for banks as well, and also for the cash account, for the petty cash we will be using this add bank account option. I will show that to you in a moment, and I will show you why we need to use this even for the cash accounts. After this, let us talk about liabilities. So liabilities are the obligations where we need to pay the money to others, like credit cards or bank loans or payables. And you can see we have so many different accounts appearing here already, and Xero has done a pretty good job in defining those. Some of these are locked, and these are because they will be used by Xero in its accounting. And other than that, the thing that we need to notice is that some of these are marked as current liability and others are marked as non-current liability. The type current liability will be used where the liabilities are expected to be paid within 1 year, 12-month period, and non-current will be used to classify where the liabilities are payable after 1 year. So let me simplify. If we have to define a credit card account, we will say it's a current liability because credit cards are payable quickly in a month's time. And if we have to define a 5-year loan, we will be using a non-current liability account for that. The codes you can see here for all the current liabilities, the codes are within 800 series, and for non-current the codes are in 900 series. Right now we do not need to add any liability account, we can add them later on as we need. Then we have equity. So equity is basically owner's money into the business, and depending on if you are a sole proprietor or a partnership firm or a limited liability company, these accounts might look a little different. But let me give you some basic idea. So retained earning is going to be used for all the earnings that you make in your business. So when you are making purchases and sales, all the money that will be coming here into these books will be getting transferred to the retained earning, and you can see that system has locked this account because this is the one that system will always be using to transfer that profit. Then you have owner fund introduced. If owner is inputting more money into the business, you will be using this account to record that. If owner is taking away the money from business, you will be using this account to record that. And this capital ordinary shares will be used if you are a company, if you have registered a company and you have to record the shares at face value of share. For them you will be using this account. For now we don't have to get into this debate. We can simply say that if the owner is inputting money into the business, we are going to use this. If the owner is taking away any valuable from business, we are going to use this account, and earnings are going to come here in this account. We can of course add more accounts here, and you can also take a look at the code here. The codes are in the series of 900. And with this we have seen all basic accounts here. Finally, we have to add the bank accounts here, which will definitely become a part of our assets, and to be particular current assets. But since bank accounts will have some additional features in Xero, directly receiving money and directly paying money features like that, and the reconciliation feature, we have to define them separately. So let's add our first bank account in the next lecture.